Lievens, let's talk about museums and projection. Where does projection find itself currently in these museum spaces that we're seeing so much of?
I think projection is really, one of the first visualization technologies that people have ever had in museums, but it has evolved a lot over recent years. Museum projection started with analog slides, photographic slides, and then film projection. But from there, it moved into video projection. And what we see is that it's still a very popular and very important visualization technology and a means of visualizing things in museums for multiple reasons. So at Barco, we were really interested to learn about, how people curate exhibitions and how they integrate visualizations in museums and in cultural displays. And we did a little survey, a global survey, with over 300 museum professionals, nicely split between, technical professionals, curatorial professionals, and people in the periphery, decision makers, management. And what we see is that for all of them, projection still is very important. And actually, it's still and continues to be the preferred visualization technology in over a quarter of all the displays that typically museums present. So that was one of the findings in our survey, was that, projection is here to stay for various reasons that we can look at.
Yeah, I mean, you said the magic word. You did a survey of 300 museum users and end users. Let's delve into it. Why are these decision makers choosing projection? What is it about projection that's still keeping it so relevant?
So one of the strengths of projection is that cinematic feel and the wow factor. The technology is relatively easy to use, meaning, in a museum display, you typically are not necessarily looking two-dimensionally, but you're not typically asking people to look up into the ceiling. And so what that means is that you can hide a projector above the viewer and project a really impressive image quite easily and have that impact of a big cinematic image with fairly robust and easy to use technology. If you were to create that kind of impactful big image that people can sort of immerse themselves in with other means of visualization, it would either be very expensive or very technologically complicated, or a combination thereof. Of course, you can, also integrate LED, direct view LED walls, or make a mosaic of flat panel displays, but the projector will get you there much quicker, with more flexibility and with immediate impact because of the size of the image. So that's one of the reasons, important reasons, why people still choose projection to really tell that story on the big picture.
And why Barco projection? What do you guys bring to the table that's so much different from the rest of the field?
So Barco, of course, is known as the professional brand for really strong impacts. And, it's a bit of an analogy, but people know Barco most because we are the global market leaders in cinema, with over 54% of the movie theater market. Barco is absolutely the market leader in that. And so if you want to create robust professional images in a museum, and the image is mission critical, that's when people look at Barco. Again, with that analogy, in a cinema, in a movie theater, if there's no image, there is no cinema, because it's all about the image. So that reliability and robustness is also what gives peace of mind to museum professionals, because, again, if you curate this beautiful exhibition and then you use visualization through storytelling, moving image, you want to make sure that it looks great every day, all day. And that's when you come to Barco. So what people appreciate about that is that we have a whole range of projectors that, of course, suit different budgets. That we're a truly global company, so we can also support traveling exhibitions, and that we have been at the forefront of immersive projection. So moving beyond the single channel, the single screen, what we see is, of course, an uptick in all kinds of immersive experiences, going from your more traditional, by now traditional Van Gogh or Monet immersive space, to interactive spaces or contemporary digital art that is immersively shown. And with our pedigree in those kind of installations and our experience in those kind of installations, we're really at the forefront of that. Barco is really one of the, if not the key player in that immersive space. And so the robustness of the technology, the experience we have in mission critical imagery, and then the wide portfolio that fits different kinds of use cases really allows us to be experts in the museum field.
Lost up, right? I know that displays and visualization is a very competitive technology vertical, right? Like there are lots of competing technologies that are vying for market share, and that are vying for market share not just in museums but like across the board. So when it comes to museums and projection, do you think that projection is going to retain this kind of relevance that it has in these spaces, or do you think it's going to grow or maybe even lose a little bit of relevance? What did the data kind of point to what the future holds for us?
Well, there are two things that are really interesting. One is that, people are, there is a proliferation of image sources. There is, more stories to tell visually in museums. Not only because there are more sources that are getting opened up, collections of moving image and things like that, but also because visual storytelling becomes easier. And I think with generative AI, we will see an explosion of that. People are going to create images from scratch in a matter of minutes that would have demanded professional animation studios and all kinds of, large budgets only months ago. And so I think with that, projection really is on the rise in museums because it allows you to create that canvas very easily. What the other thing we're seeing is that in our survey, when we were polling people on image quality, more than almost 60% of people were still working in a HD standard, not yet in 4K. But when you ask them, are you actually thinking of moving into 4K? Many of them, more than half, say that they will be working exclusively in 4K resolution in 2 years from now. So we will see more imagery at a higher resolution. And then if we asked customers, compared to the last couple of years, do you think, there's status quo when you think of projection, or will you be buying more projection? A majority of them actually think that they will be buying more projection. So I would say projection is on the rise for all of those reasons. There is also a sustainability aspect to it. It's not something that, every museum in the world needs to worry about, but there are certainly, a lot of museums doing the right thing and being very conscious of their carbon footprint. And that's another part of visualization where projection definitely has an edge over direct view LED. Now, Barco, of course, is also active in direct view LED, and there are certain applications where we really advocate for that, in simulation, in other applications, control rooms. But when it comes to museums, for sure, it's way more energy efficient to project an image on the wall than to create that same image with direct view LED. You will have less heat production. You will essentially, have a lower energy cost, and it will be better for the planet as well. So the flexibility of the technology, together with, how you can future-proof it, how you can use it going forward, really points to projection being an extremely important part of museum visualization.
Lieven, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.